Sri Gurubhyo Namaga. I am happy to welcome you all for our online learning. Class 10, subject biology, unit 15, nervous system. Today we are going to learn about spinal cord. Spinal cord is a cylindrical structure. Children, you know very well, spinal cord is a cylindrical structure which is lying in the neural canal of the vertebral column. Vertebral column is the backbone. It is present back of our body. Okay, so you know the rib cage. One end of the rib cage is connected with the long bone called sternum. The other end of the rib cage is connected with the vertebral column. Vertebral column is said to be the backbone. If the animals have the vertebral column, it is said to be vertebrates. Okay, so this spinal cord, usually spinal cord is a cylindrical structure and it is lying in the central canal of the vertebral column. So like this, the structure of spinal cord. Okay, it is covered by meninges. Meninges is nothing but what? A connective tissue, covering tissue. Okay, usually brain and spinal cord is covered by connective tissue. Three different types of meninges you know very well. Dura mater, pia mater, and arachnoid matter. Okay, so this connective tissue also called as meninges. Brain and spinal cord, brain as well as spinal cord is covered by a connective tissue called meninges or connective layer. It is said to be connective layer. There are three different types of meninges. One is called dura mater, another one is called pia mater, and then third one is called arachnoid matter. This extends, the spinal cord extends from the lower end of the medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is nothing but the posterior part of the brain. Brain has three different parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So brain has three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. In that hindbrain, what are the parts having? Pons, medulla oblongata. So the posterior end of the medulla oblongata. Spinal cord extends from the posterior end of the medulla oblongata to extends up to the first lumbar vertebra. Lumbar vertebra is nothing but one of the part of the vertebral column. Clear? See the structure of spinal cord as well as the vertebral column. This is the vertebral column. So many bones are present. This is called the vertebra, plural form. Inside the neural canal, the spinal cord is present. It is cylindrical in shape. It starts from the posterior end of the medulla oblongata, extends up to the lumbar region of the vertebral column. This region is called lumbar region. Okay, see here, and this is only one vertebra. Inside that one vertebra, the spinal cord is present. See here, the enlarged portion of the spinal cord. This is the structure of spinal cord. The posterior most region of the spinal cord tapers into thin fibrous thread-like structure called phylum terminale. Posterior end means the last part of the spinal cord is tapering, and this tapers is like a fibrous thread-like structure that is called phylum terminale. Internally, inside the spinal cord, internally the spinal cord contains the cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid is nothing but yellow color fluid. Okay, the cerebrospinal fluid filled cavity known as central canal. See here, internally the spinal cord contains cerebrospinal fluid, and this cerebrospinal fluid filled cavity is known as central canal. See the central canal. Internally the spinal cord contains the cerebrospinal fluid in the fluid cavity, that is called the central canal. The grey matter of the spinal cord is H-shaped. See here, H-shaped structure, that is called grey matter of the spinal cord. Clear, children? The shape of the grey matter is look like H. H-shaped grey matter. Clear? The upper end of H shape, see here, this is also H shape. The upper end of H shape forms posterior horns and lower end forms the anterior horns. Upper end forms the posterior horns and the lower end forms the anterior horns. A bundle of fibers passes into the posterior horn. So many nerve fibers are passes. So the bundle of fibers passes into the posterior horns, forming dorsal or afferent root. Afferent root or dorsal root is nothing but the impulse goes to the spinal cord, that is called dorsal or afferent root. It is also nothing but the nerve fiber. The nerve fiber goes to the spinal cord, that is called afferent root or dorsal root. Once again I am repeating, a bundle of nerve fiber passes into the posterior horn, forming dorsal or afferent root. See here, the dorsal root of spinal cord, a bundle of nerve fibers passes into the posterior end of the, this is the posterior end. Here the number of bundles fibers passes into the posterior horn, and then the fibers outwards, that means come from the outwards from the anterior horn, forming the ventral root of spinal cord or ventral root, that is called ventral or efferent root, outside from the anterior. This is into the posterior. So they have difference between afferent root and efferent root. Afferent root means to the spinal cord, into the spinal cord. Efferent means from out to the other parts of the body. Okay. These two roots, afferent roots and efferent roots, joins to form a spinal nerves. The afferent roots as well as the efferent roots join together to form a spinal nerves. The white matter is external. White matter is external and have bundle of nerve tracts. In white matter there are so many nerve tracts are present. It is present outside. Okay. The spinal cord conducts the main function. It conducts sensory and motor impulses. You know very well, sensory impulse as well as a motor impulse. It conducts the sensory and motor impulse to and from the brain, to the brain and from the brain. So if we touch any hard plate, means the nerve impulse, the electrical impulse passes through the neuron. That neuron is said to be the afferent neuron, also called as sensory neuron. So information goes to the spinal cord, from the spinal cord it goes to the brain, and from the brain the command will received again by the spinal cord and it passes to the other parts of the body. So there are two different neurons, sensory and motor neurons. Here the spinal cord conducts both the sensory as well as the motor neurons, motor impulse to and from the brain. It also controls the reflex actions. Reflex actions. If we are going outside, means a dust particles forcefully comes to your eyes, means what will happen? Suddenly you will close your eyelid. Okay, that is called reflex action. If any mosquito bites you, means all of the sudden just beat the mosquito. That is also one of the reflex action. So the spinal cord controls the reflex action of the body without the command of the brain. Okay. See, the H-shaped grey matter, and then the external white matter, a bundle of nerves, dorsal root of nerve fiber, dorsal, and it is called the ventral root of nerve fiber. This root join to form a spinal root, spinal nerves. I said this is called the spinal nerve. Both the dorsal and ventral nerve join together to form a spinal nerve. Clear? Cerebrospinal fluid. The brain is suspended in the specific fluid. The brain is suspended in a specific fluid environment called cerebrospinal fluid. It is called as CSF. It is lymph-like watery fluid. It is liquid in nature, watery fluid that surrounds and protects the brain within the skull. So this particular fluid protects the brain. It also fills the central canal of the spinal cord. So I already said the cerebrospinal fluid is present inside the central canal of the spinal cord. Okay, so this CSF present in both in the skull as well as in the central canal of the vertebral column. It protects the brain as well as the spinal cord. Important question: functions of CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. It acts as a shock absorbing fluid. It acts as a shock absorbance and protects the brain from damage. Very, very important. It protects the brain from the damage which is subjected to sudden jerk. Cerebrospinal fluid supplies nutrients to the brain. The CSF only supplies the enormous amount of nutrients to the brain. It collects and removes all the waste from the brain, and it also responsible for the maintaining a constant pressure inside the cranium. So these are the important functions of CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. The next topic is reflex action. A reflex means any response, whatever response that occurs automatically without consciousness. So whatever response happens, so whatever response takes place without the consciousness is called reflex action. There are two different types of reflexes. One is called simple reflex, another one is called acquired reflex. Simple is nothing but basic reflex. Second one is acquired, means this type of reflex is only based on the learning. It is also called as conditioned reflex. So acquired reflex is also called as conditioned reflex, and simple reflex is also called as unconditioned. So simple or basic reflex. Second one is acquired or conditioned reflex. First one, simple or basic reflex. These reflexes are inbuilt. It is present in our body itself, inbuilt, and unlearned. Without any learning, this reflex takes place. Hence it is called as very simple reflex or basic reflex. Many of the actions we performing in our day-to-day life, sneezing, coughing, laughing, wrinkling of eyes, if when any dust particles enters, so all this yawning, all these are normal activities, normal actions which takes place in our day to day life. So all these are inbuilt. Okay, so these actions are unlearned. Hence this type of reflex is said to be simple or basic reflex. Clear? Next, we perform these actions without any thinking. I am not thinking about the sneezing. Suddenly if I have any problem, dust particles enters means suddenly I am sneezing takes place. So all these actions are performed without any thinking. What are the actions? Wrinkling of eyes when any dust particles enters, sneezing, coughing, yawning, etc. So all these are inbuilt and these are unlearned reflex. Okay, unlearned response. Clear? The second one is acquired or conditioned reflexes. Acquired, the name itself you can easily understand. It will be learned from something, some actions. So these reflexes are result of practice. So this type of reflex takes place only by practice and learning. Playing harmonium. Harmonium is nothing but musical instrument. So playing harmonium by shrinking a particular key on seeing a music note. Without seeing the harmonium, just seeing the musical note, we are able to playing the harmonium, right? That is said to be acquired or conditioned reflex. This particular reflex is based on continuous practice and continuous learning. Clear, children? Again I am telling, playing harmonium by shrinking a particular key on seeing a music note without seeing the instrument is a good example for conditioned reflex which acquired conscious training effect. It needs conscious repeated training, repeated practice. Okay. So can you think of some more examples of conditioned reflex? So many examples is there. Just think out. Most of the reflex actions are monitored and controlled by the spinal cord. Very, very important. So all these reflex actions, most of the reflexes, it may be a simple reflex or conditioned reflex. All these reflex actions are controlled and monitored by our spinal cord, hence also known as spinal reflexes. The pathway taken by nerve impulse to accomplish reflex action is called reflex arc. It is a 2 mark question. What is reflex arc? It is nothing but a pathway. The pathway taken by nerve impulse to accomplish, to done the reflex action is called reflex arc. It is called a pathway. Now let us understand how the body executes reflex action when we touch a hot plate. See, when we touch a hot plate, if you are touching very hot plate, what will happen? Very hot. Suddenly you are taking hand from that particular hot plate? No. See, so when we touch a hot plate, the stimulus is the heat. Heat is the stimulus. This which is sensed by the receptor. The heat is absorbed by, sensed by receptors which is present in the skin. Not only in the skin, in the sense organs. So heat is nothing but the stimulus. It is sensed by our sense organs. Okay, so this stimulus is sensed by receptors called heat receptors or thermoreceptors in our body. This heat stimulus in turn triggers an impulse in the sensory neuron. I already explained sensory neurons is nothing but it it carries the impulse from the sense organs to the central nervous system. That is called the sensory neuron. So the heat stimulus in turn trigger the impulse in the sense neuron, sensory neuron. Sensory neuron carries the impulse or electrical impulse or nerve impulse to the central nervous system. See here, one boy is touch the hot plate. This heat stimulus in turn trigger the impulse in the sensory neuron. This neuron is called sensory neuron. From the sense organ, the nerve impulse are transmitted, it transported to the central nervous system, that is brain or spinal cord. Here spinal cord. After that, the sensory neuron transmits or convey the message to the spinal cord. Sensory neuron means it carries the nerve impulse from the sense organs. Okay. After that, the spinal cord interrupts the stimulus and the impulse is passed to the relay neuron, which in turn transmit it to a motor neuron. Now the motor neuron is passed to the particular sense organs. After that, the motor neuron carry command. Motor neuron is nothing but it is a type of neuron which carries the impulse from the spinal cord or the brain. It always carry the command from the central CNS. That means brain or spinal cord. Motor neuron carries the command from the brain or spinal cord to our particular organs. Here the motor neuron carries command from spinal cord to our arm. Muscle in our arm contracts and we withdraw our hand immediately from the heart pan. This is a good example for muscle is an effector organ. In this, muscle acts as an effector organ which has responded to the heat. Thank you children. We will see you in the next class.